World anyway. Welcome everybody. This is Lorenzo Evans with It Takes a Village podcast with my co-host Ariana Turner. Hope everybody's enjoying their 3-day weekend. It's definitely been nice weather out, so I am enjoying myself. Really needed it. It's been a lot going on, so every now and then it's good when you can just sit back, relax, take it easy, and just enjoy life itself. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Ariana.
Yes, welcome everyone out there. I am thankful as always for an opportunity to share your energy, for us to talk and chat about the village and how we can continue to be uplifting to each other, what's going on in the village. It's an exciting day because we got some time to talk to you guys, the village, and just hear from you all. Feel free to make sure you guys use the chat and like, subscribe, and join.
Yeah, definitely,
But you all
definitely.
that are familiar with us and those that are new, welcome. I am Ariana. I am the co host of this lovely village where we serve, enlighten, elevate, and bring the village together in awareness. And it is a blessing to be the co host to the beautiful host of this beautiful show, Lorenzo. Lorenzo is also known and very familiar on his every Saturday live on Facebook, his show. You guys can catch him there. You guys may have also seen one of his many plays. Books are yet to come, and much more, and many blessings still to unfold. So I'm so thankful that you guys join us. Every other Saturday, we are here to bring you some exciting information, resources about the village. So without further ado, let's get started and talk to the village.
Yes, definitely, definitely. There's a lot going on when you speak of a village. I guess especially with uh, since COVID has happened, I think that has strengthened the village in a sense that now people are reaching out to people they may not have reached out before. People are talking to people they haven't talked to in such a long time because before COVID, people would go visit or whatever, and it didn't seem strange to go a long time without speaking to somebody. But after COVID, a lot of people realized the importance of staying connected, the importance of reaching out to those loved ones that maybe they had a petty difference with, or whatever the situation may be. But they've learned that since COVID, tomorrow's not promised. And would you really want to stand over your loved one, wishing that you had a better relationship and knowing that you didn't because of something that really did not matter? A lot of times I tell people when you get upset with someone or when you have a disagreement or something like that, is that situation something that's worth you not speaking with them for the last time? Because you don't know. Tomorrow's not promised. In today's times, with everything going on, tomorrow is really not promised. And you need to be able to check up on each other. So many people I've talked to have no routine. They here, they there. People go, weeks without hearing from them. It's normal. But then if something happened to you, nobody knows because they can't say, well, I always talk to him every Wednesday. I had a friend that was really ill, and the only reason he survived was because every Tuesday, I think it was every Monday, Tuesday, would go bowling. And when he didn't show up, there's like something is definitely wrong. This is not normal. So they went to his house and had his landlord go into the house, and he had I think it was either diabetic or something situation, but he was there, and had they not noticed the difference in his routine, he'd have never survived. So
Yeah,
we,
yeah, that checking in on people. I know you talk about when COVID, like for me, one thing that has been on my heart, and I think that we all should take time in this season too, is this is a nurturing season, right? So COVID reminded us of the importance of our foundation in our home and that being solid and healthy and structured, and the value of bringing in that nurturing energy. So now that we've been shown the value of the foundation, like how do we strengthen that and make it healthy and make it grow so we have healthy seeds growing, whether it be our children, our village, our projects, ourselves, our minds. All of those require good soil. And one of the things for me in this season, in that nurturing, is valuing life. And a lot of times, some of our elderly, they, you know, what they say, out of sight, out of mind. They're not always able to move like us. to get
Mm-hmm.
around like us, to be on the go like us. And so it's really easy to leave them behind and forget. And so I just want to call out to all of the village that many of us have an ancestor, a loved one, an elder who is in need of your time, in need of your patience, of your pause, of your quietness. Just sit and listen to them. Swing by and bring them a meal. If you have no elderly, if you have no family and you're out there in the village and you feel like you are alone, there is someone waiting for you to visit them. The nursing homes are opening back up where you can stop and visit, activities on the weekend. There are a lot of things where you can grow and exercise your gift, whether it be music, writing. You can read your books and your scripts. Your children, if they have the art for a band, if they have the gift of play, where they do drama, whatever it may be, you and your village, no matter how big or small it may be, can go and elevate, lighten the day of another loved one. And when I say loved one, I'm talking about our village, our community, blood in and blood out. You know?
Right, because it is, and it's so many people that, for whatever the reason may be, they're in a nursing home or assisted living, and people don't understand that human connection, that touch, is valuable, and for them, even though they would rather have a loved one come visit them, to have somebody who's a complete stranger stop by and just say, "Hey, I don't know you, but I want to check up on you," or "I don't know you, but I would like to still, just see how you're feeling, that you know that you're loved, that you're cared about or thought about." That goes a long way because that shows that there's someone that still care. And even though people don't understand it, people draw off of the need of someone else.
Yeah.
So
We're
when you
built like
feel
that.
that,
We're
it gives
built.
them something to, give them something to hope for. Like, wait, maybe somebody may come and visit me again, or somebody visit me. That means I'm important. There's a reason for me to be here. But I really think when you are isolated and you have no contact, and they're seeing like nobody care, it draws and drains you to where you have that attitude of, why am I holding on? What am I struggling
Mm,
for? What does tomorrow hold for me? And I think it's really nice when people take their younger kids to visit them, because the older generation, they want to have that nurturing feeling. They want to have that grandma or grandpa feeling that they can share with someone, and that they draw off of the energy of the youth.
yes. And they got plenty of energy to be drawn off of. Let somebody else soak it up.
Yeah, yeah, and it also shows the youth that life is precious, and there's gonna come a point in time where we all gonna be put in that position where we're older, where we're more mature, or where we're in need of. And when you reflect back upon your life, you have to ask: have you deposited enough into the environment, the people, the world, to where now you can withdraw on what you have put out?
Hmm.
You're always helping people when you're young, or you're always doing things, and I believe it comes around. It People who give are open to receive.
Yes. Today I heard a story from one of the ladies, and she reminds me of the value of being able to get up and walk and get up and go and being able to appreciate every footing and it being strong and confident because she has no legs. She has to rely on a wheelchair to be mobile. And she told me that her only child passed away from a brain aneurysm when he was 30. So it wasn't anything expected, planned, and to be in a season where you cannot do for yourself, your abilities have been limited to in comparison to the rest of the physical world. And it is a reminder to those of us to appreciate the things that we use every single day. Last time we talked about like the elements and earth and appreciating just that foundation and that I have air to breathe, that I have running water, those basics. And in that too, this season we are reminding you guys to appreciate those abilities in my limbs and my mind, my eyes, my ears, and those that don't have all of those physical abilities, the peace that we're able to harness within, the awareness, the elevation, when we take time and peace within ourselves. So it's that connection and that contact because some of us have to be reminded how to pull out that peace out of ourselves And that takes a partner to remind you what greatness you have inside, or just to give you a smile so you remember that you are being shined upon. You are special and important. That's why you are breathing today. That's why you are able in a being today. So village,
Yes.
make sure you guys know that.
Right. And and that's why we say it takes a village, because there are people who, for different reasons, maybe they don't have a large family, or maybe they only have, one child that's far away or something, or whatever the situation may be. But there are people who can step in and be that second son, that second, third daughter, or that child that the parent never was able, that, or the person was never able to have. So now you can step in, because I just think that as people, it's our nature to be around people. It's our nature to have that love and to love somebody. And when you don't have that, I've heard of a lot of people who was doing pretty good when they go into a nursing home, but then there's nothing for them to strive for, and they just go downhill so quickly. My my grandmother, I think that's what happened with her. She's always a giver. She used to have foster children. I mean, my grandmother fostered probably about 40, 50 children.
Mm.
And most of them she fostered until they was almost into adulthood. I mean, there's so many that, will come by and visit and stuff. But then after she got older and her children, they put her in a nursing home, and then they just kind of quit going to visit. And
Mm.
I went to visit her, and she was just like a shell of who she was, because I mean, that's all she knew was give, give, give. And then when there was nothing for her to get left to give, instead of
Somebody
somebody,
poured it, yeah.
right. And I was like, wow. So I've seen it happen. I've seen people who are in good health, and then because of lack of love, lack of contact, lack of someone being there, they just, it's nothing left for them. They don't have that desire, because they just wake up in the morning, and then what? They go back to
Mhm.
sleep. So everybody needs that. In the whole village, we need to come together, because it's so much going on in the world that we have to keep eyes on kids that are not ours.
Boy, tell
We
it.
need to step in and
That's
say, young
crazy.
man, don't do that, or that might not be a good place for you to go, or this is not a good place for you to be. Present yourself better, because there's so much negative out there, and there's so many situations where people are not doing anything wrong. They're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. So we have to step in as a village and get back to saying, no, don't do that. Don't go there. Don't believe that. Be more aware of your surroundings. Um, we've got so inundated with this social media stuff that it's just taking control. As a matter of fact, they had a guy on the news that he said he went to pick up his wife. He got in his car and started looking at Facebook, and then some guy that came by with a gun and took his car and everything. And I was thinking, what if you was paying attention and you seen the stranger coming towards you with ill intentions? Or what if you was prepared? As soon as he came and it looked like it wasn't a good situation, you drove off or whatever. But because you was so caught up in Facebook, you didn't even notice. And now you are a person being discussed on the news about how you could have lost your life. And it's all because you was not aware. So
Mhm.
we've got to become aware of our surroundings and environment, because people are just doing things that is not normal from when we grew up. When I grew up, I mean, it just was unheard of for somebody to walk up and take your car. you know,
I'll also say, we talk about our surroundings. Awareness is key. One of the words take away from today is awareness. We talked about being aware of connecting with others, being aware of yourself, and feeling though pouring into each other and making sure you're poured into. And then awareness of what is going on around you. Lorenzo mentioned about our youth and kind of pouring in, being aware of where their minds are. What do they say? Take advantage of teachable moments.
mhm.
For mine, there are times when you have to visit those that are unable, like children are able, energized, powerful. They visit those that have less than. And we all know this as easy lessons where they can see and experience where choices take you, where life can take you. And then feeding into testing their surroundings. they also need to be aware of how to make these choices. A lot of times we talk about kids not being aware or knowing, they haven't had the time or opportunity to test it. Like last time I made that choice and that was not good for me, or this doesn't rock well for me when I am in this group or in this setting or hanging with these type of people. And we have to start giving them the space to test those surroundings, to being aware of your surroundings and allowing the youth to test it out so they can be stronger in these surroundings as they stand on their own feet.
Yeah, because they don't know. They have to be taught. They have to be trained, and it's so easy now for kids to be exposed to things that they have not been trained for or have not been prepped for,
Yeah.
because it's out there. I mean, to me, and I know the schools, because of COVID, they had to give them the computers and things, but I think that that's a good thing for them to get the wisdom and the knowledge. But it's also a bad thing unless they're in an environment where that parent is still watching what they're doing with that school computer.
Yeah. Now, good thing some the school computers have the restrictions on it, but it opens it up to a new world of expectations where they live more on the medias and on the electronic devices, because that's their new norm than where we were. So it does require us to be more engaged, more in tune, more aware. So awareness again on both sides, allowing them to experience and you having to step up and get familiar with the games and the platforms and the logins that are out there.
Yes, and we've got to get away from. Um, I guess I'm not even sure how they word it, but they have this thing now where kids have their rights to do whatever they want, their privacy. Until you are old enough to have a job and paying your own rent, your privacy is my privacy. So every password you have, I should have that password. Everything that you have access to, I should too, because I need to know who you talking to, who's talking to you, who's sending you messages. Is that a real person? Is that an appropriate conversation? Is that an appropriate site to be on? So we have to get away from being so friendly with our children that we're not being the protector that we're supposed to be. And I think society now gets so caught up being providing and giving that they take away from protecting and watching over.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we got to get back to that, because the world is different, and I mean, it is. Our children are going to be exposed to stuff that we have no choice in the matter. When we was coming up, we heard a little bit about the birds and the bees, and we heard all this stuff, and now, but you can't wait until biology class. You can't wait until middle school. You got to have them ready, because society is going to pour that out either in a movie or in a song, in a video, or something on TikTok, or something that you don't know about. So we have to make sure that they're aware and also comfortable enough to come to us with questions and not go to someone else with questions.
Yeah. So open dialogue. They need to be aware that they can talk to us. We say them, they, us, it's fluid. I know many of you out there like that. It's very fluid because we are all learning, right? There are grown people that are at stages of youth. There are youth that are at stages of adults, and mentally or spiritually, whatever it might be. Everybody has different levels, right? So there's different parts of us that do have to mature. We may have egos that grew up way bigger than our divineness. So we got to balance it. So be aware that we hope that in this conversation that you can see yourself on both sides of it. Even from the beginning when we talk about our elderly and pouring in, those of you who have time to prepare, this is a season where you can start investing in yourself, in long-term care, in insurance for yourself, so you can be prepared in those seasons to not be alone or not be a burden or not be stressed. And get to pick the home you go into. So
Mhm.
I hope that in all of this, everyone can see the value in both sides of the conversation or both sides of the coin.
Yeah. And I think that what we may do is have a guest on that can speak on the preparation of the older life,
Mm-hmm.
because prepared for it or not, it's going to come. It doesn't matter what you do, the older years, if God allow, you're going to live into those older years. If
God
you're not
willing.
prepared, right? If you're not prepared, then those older years can be years that can be very traumatic and very difficult. And not only that, I don't know. It's
I mean, think about both sides of it. If you don't live long enough, what are you leaving behind? Who's prepared? Do you have children? Do you have siblings who they're going to be trying to figure out what you want to do with your stuff? Do you have things of value that you want something special handed to? Either way, whether you're planning to live or not, you should really plan for whichever way you want it to be. You plan for both options, really.
right, and which is right because you should be ready for whatever, whenever, however. I think for me, I get a little, how can I say it? I don't want to say angry or frustrated, but irritated when I see someone who's been well known for years, been in movies and they've been in this, and then when they pass away, you want to have a GoFundMe, and I'm like, so that shows you that every walk of life, it does not matter how much you make. If there's no preparation, it's going to be messy and drama, and you never know. I mean, James Brown, I think it took them 5 years to sell his estate before they, could get everything straight. And I think it took them a year to bury him because they were fighting over who had what. And I'm like, this man, to us, he was an icon. So if someone like James Brown, or who was the other famous person that was
you could be famous or you could be infamous. Be great
right,
and have your stuff in order.
right,
Like, that
yes,
foundation, y'all. Don't have mud and dirt in where it's supposed to be your soil and your roots.
yes, I like that. And that's true because people have stuff and they're doing nothing with it. And this is something that I said a few years back. A lot of times people feel like they have time. They feel like they're gonna do this, that, or the other. Well, when Prince passed away, I think he was on an airplane and they tried to rush him to the doctor or whatever. And I said, if you really look at that and analyze it, this was someone who, Prince was not broke. Prince was well known. Prince had money. Prince was on his plane, not just any plane. He's in his own private jet. He had the best of doctors. But when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. And he probably thought, look, I'm gonna be around because I'm Prince. Yeah, I'm flying where I want. I'm eating where I want. I'm eating what I want. I make a phone call and they fix my meal. They bring it to me. I mean, life is grand, but all of a sudden you're no longer here, and people are scrambling because of your notoriety. They thought that you had a special amount of time that no one else has, and it doesn't mean that. There's so many people with money, but that doesn't mean they're gonna have time to even spend it all. So make sure that when you leave, now you don't have family members that's fighting because of the money that you left, that you worked for.
And don't be the broke person that live forever.
Right.
Like, invest in yourself. Put some savings away so you can live forever and have some abundance with it. I know we said bring a guest on. I want y'all to know that we are licensed insurance agents and have the knowledge and resources if you have questions about preparing for life's journey and your transition, or preparing for your homegoing. It's a celebration. So I think what's most important about the awareness of talking about this is that everyone understand that, it's guaranteed. You get an opportunity to celebrate your journey here as it comes to a close. So it's up to you on how you do that, but definitely do that. Talk about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, because people always talk about leaving a legacy, and to leave a legacy is not to leave somebody with money. You leave a legacy by giving them the tools to understand how to create their own multiple streams of income. You leave a legacy by giving them the understanding of how to handle the finances that may come their way. That's how you build a legacy. Because a legacy is the wisdom, is knowledge. We've always grew up thinking in order to leave a legacy, you have to have X amount of dollars, and no, you don't. You could be broke and still leave somebody the wisdom and knowledge to create a better legacy than what you had.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So like that, you might have journals that are valuable because your life's lessons are in there. You need to write out what happens with those journals before they get tossed in the flea market because somebody didn't know what to do with your stuff.
right. Now somebody paying, pennies on a dollar of what could be valuable. I like what I think it was Shaq was telling his son when he had graduated high school or something. He told him, go out, get your car, you did good. And I can't remember the name of the car that his son brought, said this is what I want. And he was like, no. He was like, but we can afford it. He said, but no, you're not mentally mature enough for that vehicle. He said, go get you a regular car. He said, you're not doing that. He said, because I want my kids to realize the importance of money. He said, in order for you to get the money I have, you have to bring me X amount of degrees that you got in college. You got to show me that you're wise, because I can't just give you money because you don't understand it if you haven't worked for it, earned it, prepared on how to handle it. And it's that's leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
It's not getting caught up in the fame, the fortune, but understanding how to get that fame, how to get that fortune, how to use it, how to let it grow, how to let your money make money for you, not just sit
Make
and
the
get
money work, y'all. We working too hard. Our money is built to work for us. It's a vehicle. It can move. It's currency. It flows. It vibrates. You let it do its job. Stop working so hard.
right. But again, it goes with training. It goes with being taught. That's why we've got to get back to strengthening the minds of our youth. We got to get them back off of these crazy videos that make them think you got to go out looking all crazy and you got to go out looking all cheap and all. You don't have to do that. Walk out with dignity, with respect, because that's what people are looking for. People are looking for someone who have pride in themselves. You don't have to be a follower. Be a leader. Set the standards. Don't go by the standards. Set the standards. Do something that people look and say, hey, I think I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do what everybody else is doing, because what everybody else is doing may not be right.
Might not be for you.
Yeah, right. You don't have to do that.
All of our viewers definitely encourage the village, encourage the community. Who out there has prepared for their transition and homegoing, enlighten their mindset, have things of value stashed, invested in themselves with long-term care? What have you done and have found a benefit to? Let us know. Some of you may or may not know, but there's also different coverage, different insurances that help you to build a legacy and have it to be your own bank. So definitely let's talk in the chat about the different type of insurances you all have. Elevate, educate, enlighten the community. Pros, goods, bad, cons.
Yeah, because we have to talk about it, because if we don't know, you can have something that may not be good for you, and it may not be difficult to switch to something that's better.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you paying more for something when they say, hey, we can bundle that into something different. You can get the same benefits for less. I mean, knowledge is power, and you can't be afraid to embrace it. You got to go and say, hey, well, I'm not too sure about this. Quit feeling like you have to know it all, or, well, maybe somebody can look at me because I don't know this or that. No, it's not about what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And conversation and communication is what creates elevation. So you have to get the information. So you can't just stand around and say, oh, well, I think. No, talk about it, speak about it, because there are people who know. There are people who are trained about insurance. There are people who are trained about, life situations. There are people who are trained to steer you and guide you in the right direction, but you have to be willing to be vulnerable enough to say, I don't know. And that is a very wise statement. It does not mean that you're ignorant. It does not mean that you are unknowledgeable. That means that you know your limitations. You know you want to do something different, and you want to speak about it. You want to let people know, hey, you're an expert in this. That's the power of the village. We all don't know the same thing, but together we can come together, and our brands are strengthened based upon the wisdom or the knowledge that we have. So we've got to get away from that, that embarrassment, to get away from feeling like, well, what do people think? It doesn't matter. As long as you're protected and taken care of, that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm. I I want to share what's on my heart for the village. Because I feel like a lot of us are in the same season that tune into the village, right? And it's a pretty big parameter that we fall between. But I feel like where we are being led today is to be reminded about the old and the new, the youth and the elderly, the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end. And we are right in that middle. That's why it's awareness for us. I will. It is not our season to be catered to or cared for. It is our season of work. Those of us that are in the middle, because it is the season where the enemy has just attempted to destroy our home and foundation. Right? COVID swept through. When I say enemy, this is anything that is against life, against growth, against our betterment of our village, our community. And so when we think about the home that was under attack, in our home, our most precious and prized possessions are those our elderly and our children. And so this is the season where we have to stay vigilant on protecting them, elevating, being aware, connecting, and just sometimes just being still and being with them. So you can see, so you can protect, so you can guide, take advantage of teachable moments. So that may mean that we need to work, but we also need to make sure we pause and have a really healthy balance on serving. It's still work, but it's not the work that we're used to. And I feel like in this season we have to be aware to pause and do that other work. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, we don't have to be aware. We have to know what's going on, and we have to know where we're at in life, and we just have to get away from that feeling of like we can't share with others. Like I mean, it's like to say we're in that season where we have to get ready. I mean, we when we I think people over spiritualize things when we speak of enemy or when we speak of certain situations. We're not necessarily saying in a enemy of a devilment way or whatever, but we're saying it's something that came to kill or destroy what was. But for those of us who survived, we survived for a reason, because some people didn't survive. Some did not make it through. And we're not in a position to question or understand all of those who did not. But we are in a position to be thankful for those that did and say, what is my lesson? What am I to do? What is my reason for being here? I always tell people all the time, I don't care what situation you're in, I don't care how bad it may be, how dark it may be, how painful it may be. You're here, and if you have a pulse, that means there's a chance your situation can change. If you're breathing, that means there's a possibility that your situation can change. So you don't have to accept where you're at to dictate your next. You never know what tomorrow is going to bring. But if you are here breathing, you have the ability, you have an opportunity to do better and to come up out of whatever you're in. So if you're here, if you're listening to us now, later, or tomorrow, whenever, know that there's a purpose in your life. God does not create anything that he cannot use.
Nothing.
So if you were here, no matter what the situation was, no matter what bloodline you came through, no matter what circumstance caused you to be here, it does not matter. If you are here, seek your reason so that you can change your season, so you can be better than what you are. So don't stay where you're at. Don't stay stagnant. Don't just feel like, oh, this is my quote, this is where I'm supposed to be, and this is my lot in life. No, it's not. No, you're not. Everything is to change. Everything should change. You're always changing. You're always evolving. Even if you don't recognize it, acknowledge, or see it, you are always changing. That's why something you wore yesterday, you may not want to wear tomorrow. Something you wore last year may not fit today. Something that you wanted today, tomorrow you may not want, because you're always changing. Life is about changes. The only thing that stays the same is the fact that everything changes.
Yeah. Like your body is built like that. Like it teaches you that your skin, you lose skin every day, your nails grow, everything evolves. So yeah.
Always. So accept life, enjoy it, and wherever you're at, just know that it can change. I mean, we're a village. And there's somebody that's waiting to hear your story so they can get strength from it. And you need to be out there and give your story, even if your story seems to you it may be bad. But the fact that you're telling someone else your story shows that you had enough strength to overcome it. And that somebody listening may hear that and say, wow, maybe I can change. Maybe I do have a chance. So somebody's waiting to hear your story, and there's somebody out there ready to tell a story. They're waiting for you to be in position to hear it. Open up,
You know,
listen.
I love how you tell the village to tell their story. Because one of the most important things with your story is that it's your therapy, it's your test, and you get to share your testimony, your story. And even if there's only one person that hears it and it's you still got to get the therapy of releasing it. And that
Mhm.
energy in itself is elevating to you. So I our village, you guys are special. And I know we talk about the ones that are, pushing to move, to pushing to grow. There are some of us out there that every day are looking about growing, being better and moving. And baby, don't try to move mountains unless you're ready, because you can. But pick 3 items a day. Pick 3 tasks. Like, don't bombard yourself with the stress of being perfect, because it's more beautiful to be perfectly imperfect, is what they say. Because your flaws make you unique. So,
Yeah, and I mean, and flaws is what make up people because it's funny because what society look at a flaw, somebody else may look at and it may not be a flaw. Don't you know there are people that when they're doing movies that they're looking for people who have like strange scars on their face, or they're looking for people who may have a funny limp when they walk. I mean, all these things because we look at it as a flaw, but there are people who are saying that's what I need. That's what I need for my show to be complete because even though you may look at it like it's a flaw, but it's not. It's only a flaw because you are compared to what man has said is perfected. But step away from what man has said
yes.
and accept who you are for what you are and go for it. I mean, if you look at these movies and at these people who are in movies that you would look at and would never think they would be famous because you just see them walking on the street, it'd be like nothing. But you got people who are small in stature, and that's
Mm.
who they're looking for. You got people who are taller than the average people. That's what they're looking for. I mean, there's so many different things that you look at. I mean, there's one movie I used to watch, and they had a person that was they had what we would consider a disability, but they was the star of the show. Even when we was in Vegas, we went and it was this guy that came out, and it was a lot of dancers that was doing all these just crazy dances. I mean, flipping and jumping and spinning and all that. And this guy came out with one leg and he danced with them just like he was one of them. There was no different. He had his crutches. He would dance with his crutches. He'd throw them to the side and he was dancing flip. He would get them back. I mean, you would have never known that what we look at as a disability, you would never known he would do that unless he had the faith to step away from the fear of what society will look at and say, no, you can't do that. He said, yes, I can. And he did that. And it was just amazing because he blended right in like everybody else. So I kept looking, I was like, wait a minute, is that part of the show or what? Because he was so natural with it. So don't worry about what you look like, what you don't look like. That's man's shortcoming and not being able to see the gift that God has placed in you for who you are.
Yeah.
So
I believe everybody should do 3 great I ams, to remind yourself about your greatness. So 3 I ams and speak it. I am strong. I am beautiful. I am loved. Whatever that may be, that you are great and I am is backing you up. So speak it.
yes, because I mean, why not? I
You
always
need,
tell
you need
people,
the motivation, because it is time to work.
right? Because there's enough people out there that's speaking negatively about whoever, whatever. We got that, but let's speak about ourselves. If you speak life to your vision, if you realize how important you are, if you show that you love you, you will realize that other people are drawn to that. So you have to realize that wait a minute, I am special. You know, I am somebody. I am needed. I'm desired. I'm wanted. The world would be different without me. You have to get to that place where you know your value. Once you know your value, then others will realize it as well.
Can't
But
nobody tell you
you
nothing.
have to know it yourself. And once you realize the value of who you are, you can never be shortchanged again. So, got to know it.
Village, yes. So, as to recap, awareness, awareness, awareness. Know who you are. If you don't, it's okay. Take time, be still, be with yourself. And then serve, connect with others, take time with those who are different than you, less fortunate than you. So you can begin appreciating different things, and you will learn and see and hear in serving others what is for you, like what your purpose is, what your gifts are. So in serving others, it really will feed into you trying to find yourself, and then being aware of those around you in your circle, in your village, who are younger than you, whether it be by a day or by years. It is important that we feed into each other, even if they're young in maturity, young in the spirit, young in finances. It is important that we are aware of those in our circle so we can feed into others and share knowledge, share information. And then just really celebrating the old and the new and that awareness. So
Yeah,
it's a
because
good,
you know if you don't appreciate the old, you'll never be able to celebrate the new.
yeah, yeah,
And like I
yes.
said, just show love to one another. Don't it, and it's people don't realize it's so easy just to say hi to a complete stranger, or to say thank you to somebody who hold the door for you. I think it's nothing that's more uh, disrespectful when somebody hold the door for somebody and then they just keep on walking through without even just saying thank you. And I'm like, this is a simple thing. Or, I've seen people who complete strangers would, pay for somebody's, meal or something, or just
Oh
walk
yeah.
and just things like this because it shows that, um, it shows that life is still there, love is still there. I remember, I think we was at the store or something, and I was had something we had bought, and it was kind of heavy, and I was, getting ready to put it in the car, and a complete stranger, I didn't know who he was, and he came over and he helped me and everything, and you okay, all right, and I was like, yeah, I'm cool, I appreciate it, but he didn't have to do that, and not that it makes a difference whether he was black or white, but because of all the craziness going on, it was someone that was not of color,
Mhm.
and I was like, I was appreciative that you still see things like this. You still see people helping one another, black, white, or whatever, because it shouldn't matter when you're in a position to help someone. Their skin tone should not have anything to do with it,
Right.
because all of us, if we were to take the color out of everybody, you would maybe tell one from the other. So if the only difference is the shade of your
Mhm.
skin, well, then you should be able to help everybody and anybody. So
Yes. Okay, I have to. So I giggle because there, it has been said that when certain races have get an autopsy done, if you do a lot of perms in your hair, they can tell because of the film of green muck that's on your brain. My ladies out there, I just had to tell y'all. But
well,
yes, in general, like we're all the same. We're all a part of the human race, and it's important. You remind me of a time when I was at the store and it was an elderly man, and it was burning up hot, but literally from his car to the door, he couldn't make it. Like he could not make it. He got halfway, and the heat just it was too much, and he just couldn't move. And some people kept going. And some people stop to serve them. And it just reminds you that at any point, you never know when you are going to need help. And so it's important to pay it forward. I thought about like, hey, those of us that are familiar with serving or having some extra funds or benevolent or tithes, whatever, offering, keeping some extra cash on you so when you do come across someone in need, you have a couple extra dollars that you intended to use as service, as your love offering or whatever it may be. Um, so yeah, so definitely. I mean, and also in that same aspect and concept, being it's important to understand when to and how to request help or ask for it. Um, it's on my heart, so I'm gonna say it. So we talked about our youth, and there are sometimes of us who will be in need of help. There will be people, I've seen a lot more families in need of help, like on the corner asking for help, which is an understanding of the times, but it is a reality that many of people are in need. At the same aspect, I've also seen youth fundraising and promoting their sports team or the recreational activities on the side, asking for money. I think it's important that when we're able to equip with using your skills, your resources, your talents to finance and fund yourself, that it's important we build that foundation. So when things do get rocky and hard, they can rely back on that. Oh, this car wash or this yard sale or this journal I created or these beads and bracelets I made. And so help me to get some revenue and finances. It is a full circle from beginning to end. Don't have our children out here on the street with hands out without giving a service or understanding that your value is more than being in need. Your value is a service, an ability, and a gift, a talent that you have been blessed with on the inside of to give to your community. And your community will pay you for it. Your gifts will make room for it. You do not have to be out with your hand out. And I know some people may or may not agree with this, but I feel it's vital and important that our youth understand when they're able and have the energy and are promoting and funding something of how to do it to elevate and not continue to be in need and on the bottom. You don't have to be in that position. Change the mindset. And I'm passionate about that one, so I'll pause on that.
Well, when I look at that, this has always been my thought. I don't know. We've raced up in a different era, but it the same group of kids that you've got standing on the corner or whatever, however, why not take that group and take them to a neighborhood so they can assist maybe the elderly and say, hey, for $5 we'll cut your grass, for or whatever they may need, or for $15 we'll paint your house. It's so much that could be done that wouldn't take a lot if you got the same group of people to where they can contribute and get that money so quickly, and it's more efficient and it is more powerful, and
It's
it
a
gives them the
win-win.
mindset of working to receive. Because when you're out there just asking, I'm not saying that you can or will not receive funds, but to me it's almost not teaching them the value of putting in the sweat equity, the value of working for it. It gives you the mentality that if I ask enough people, I can get what I want without putting anything out for it, without doing anything. I
Or
can
I
just,
expect that if I feel like I burn myself out on the streets, somebody owes me something.
right.
You got to
Because
realize
sometimes
what
the
you're putting in the
mentality
cycle.
behind, yeah, the mentality is like, well, why come, if one person or somebody don't give, now they kind of get a little irritated with them. And to me, it's because the mindset has went more of, you know,
Somebody should have
I
gave because
need,
I was
you should
standing
give
out
me
here.
this. I'm entitled to this because I'm out here. And whatever you are raising money for, maybe something that I'm not passionate about. Or when I went past you, maybe I hit my mom or something else and I did not even see you. Or, well, so many
Or
reasons why
maybe I
I
don't
may not.
believe children should be on the side of the street asking with their hand out, or girls should be on the side asking cars for money. Maybe I don't believe that that's where I want to promote and encourage
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
behavior.
So it's because it's so, I mean, and it's so dangerous now anyway, and there's so much things that happen. I guess when I think about it, from the standpoint of, I hear how many people have been in situations where there have been a freak accident or whatever, and it's like, wow, you look at the danger you're putting these kids in because they're standing right here in the middle of traffic going both ways, and it take just a slight inch off of where you were going. Now you're up on the road and there's 3 or 4 kids that's hurt because they out there trying to raise money to buy a t-shirt.
Now, I know not everywhere it's like this, and we said times have changed. So those that aren't familiar, there are local sports and recreations that we definitely want our kids to be involved in, to grow, to be healthy, all that good stuff. Nowadays there's different ways to raise money with GoFundMe, with fundraisers outside. And in some areas, there have been the practice of being outside and having signs requesting funds for an activity or a club or a sports team. And so it's similar to how we see those outside with a sign who will work for food or are hungry. So it's the same behavior. And so that's what we're speaking about, is just making sure that taking advantage of those teachable moments for the youth, and then recognizing that that particular way of financing themselves can be elevated different ways. They can elevate into different ways of financing themselves. And even when you have a business, some people just don't buy. They don't want what you're selling. So it's important that they understand how to come back, reevaluate, pivot, restructure their business plan. All of these things can be stuff that is taught and learned in these experiences when we talk about being aware of what our children need, allowing them to exercise their surroundings. And so that was just my call out to all of those youth sports activities, all of those great practices and engagement for our youth that are out there. Remember, finances are a valuable part of our life, where it's an opportunity for them to learn how to have that built on strong, solid footing and being able to elevate. So just take advantage of that teachable moment.
Yes, teach your children. I mean, like I said, and that's part of the village, teaching them how to be a effective part of the village, how to be able to stand out in the village. And like we said, we're not trying to say that our viewpoint is everybody's viewpoint. We're not trying to say that kids should not do different things for fundraisers. We're just saying that the ideology of what they're doing, look at the long-term effects. Try to find other creative ways. It's got to where now that's the only thing. And then it just goes into so many other things, where you have the boys that they out there with trying to sell the water. Then if they don't buy people, they throwing the water at people and they jumping on the cars.
They out there in the heat all day.
It's too much negative. And I think anything that's not properly controlled or structured is not good. Mm-hmm. And this could go into a whole different segment, so we're not going to speak to it too much. But even the mindset, mentality, or the stigma of what's been done is because in most cases it's certain races doing certain things, and then it's put another cloud on how we are raising or how we're being raised or whatever. No, it's not about who's been raised. It's just they've seen what other people are doing and it works. So I don't even
become a habit.
Right. I don't even really give into when the police officers out there or the firemen with the boot and stuff. And I'm like, you're doing a public service. The public should have some fund set up to pay you. You shouldn't, if you're a firefighter, you shouldn't have to stand on the street trying to get money to do your job. I just. So it's not just the youth. It seemed to be something that everybody
should be a carnival for the community where we come and donate for our firefighters and our police officers. Like there should be some type of a service with the funding. I just feel like it should be a connection where I'm here to elevate you because I feel you're going to invest in me. And that's what business is. That's what life is. That's what we started with the show about, really making sure that we're serving others and pouring into and allowing ourselves to be poured into because of what we put out. And so I love that it started with us in the elderly and then brought it back to the youth about ways that they can find to elevate in how they serve. And I'm sorry, not even just the youth, but we did hit on other facets of the community that are using just with the handout.
Yeah, so we did, and like I say, we know a lot of people may disagree with us, and we understand that because everybody has their own opinion. So we're not speaking for anyone but our village. We're just speaking for our thought, what we feel. And if you have other arguments that you want to have, or not arguments, or ways you want to discuss it, or other viewpoints, you're more than welcome to inbox us, let us know, and we'll bring you on and we can talk about it. Because as a village, we want everybody's opinion. We value your opinion, whether we agree with it or not. We value your opinion because you have a right to have your opinion. But we just say that if you have an opinion and you want to express it openly, so we can discuss it and say, we can weigh the pros and cons. I mean, that's what a village does. They come together and they talk about their differences. They talk about their weakness, their strength. They talk about ways that they can collaborate to build something better. So it's not about right or wrong. It's just about discussing openly so that we can find a solution versus pointing out a problem.
Pollution, not saying.
So
But yeah, definitely add in there if you are one who's a part of community activities or groups and you have found different ways of raising money, things at work where they can still be out and allow the community to invest in them, where it is easy for the youth to do. If you have ideas, if what we talk about works for your community and your group or your team, I should say, share with us. Let us know the experience and what it's done, how the giving has helped you guys to make a difference in the village. I want to take a pause and just thank all of the village that remembers to serve others, that remembers to give daily, in every capacity. It's the nurturing season. So thank you, all of those who are nurturing. It's greatly appreciated. I'm excited to see what some of the comments that we hear about. Remember about any insurance that you have used, tested out, things that have worked for you, experience you've had in it, those that it's helped and paid off and saved. And then about awareness. How do you stay connected? How are you giving back and serving? How are you keeping your eyes open for this new village being raised up under us? And then lastly, definitely making sure of different ways that we can elevate financially. How can we begin to invest? How can we begin to raise funds internally in groups in the village? Share your knowledge. We're excited to hear it.
definitely, definitely. So we're ready to come to a close, and I just do want to say that we just want to talk about different things because when we have live shows, we deal with things as it comes. So we do apologize that we were supposed to have a special guest, but different things came about, and we were unable to connect at this time. So we will definitely revisit that and get back on track. But we still as a village, we always have so much that we want to talk about that we can speak about. So we definitely want to do that. We didn't want to bow out and not give you a show because, I mean, we are a village and everybody's important in the village, the guests, the speakers, the audience, and everyone. So we definitely value everybody. And like I say, we'll definitely revisit and have our guests. It was supposed to be Geoffrey Golden, the season 7 Sunday best winner. But of course, you have to realize that he's a pastor, he's a father, he's a singer, artist, and have a lot of things going on. And sometimes different things come up, and the time it may be conflicted or double booking or whatever the situation may be. So we definitely understand things happen. So we're not, taking it as anything other than we just didn't quite connect the way we want to. But we still wanted to have a show because this is the Takes a Village podcast, and everybody's important. So we will, revisit, but we will be back again, and we can continue to express our opinion, and we'll continue to ask you to offer your opinion because we really want to hear. We want to be both sides, and in order for that to happen, you have to come on and have a conversation. We never debate or argue. We just discuss because that's where you get growth, understanding, and we can just find out what you want to talk about. We love to hear people speak passionately about what they believe in because that's how we get understanding. And maybe we're looking at something differently. Maybe it's something you can show us that we don't see. But at the end of the day, we just want to say that we want our youth to be protected. We want our youth to be educated, and we want our youth to be useful. So we can only do that by educating them. So
I love it.
yeah. So with that being said, we've had a good time. We will definitely be back on the 16th.
Yes.
And on the 16th, it's going to be a very, very special guest. So excited. Can't wait till that day. So everybody, next on the 16th, when It Takes a Village come back, our guest is going to be none other than my co-host, Ariana Turner.
I'm
So
excited. Finally
yeah,
get to share with you guys how I serve my community and how the passion and love I have for you all. So, in different ways, you guys can tap in and get to know me and follow me. And remember, there's just two of us here. I don't know which side we're on, but it's just two of us. So, the village is way bigger than us. So, we definitely look for your point of view and insight. Share with us.
definitely. Like I said, that's why we say it takes a village because we are not the village. We represent the village, but we are not the village. Everybody that's listening, come on the show. Everybody around the audience, we are all the village. It takes a village. That means that it's not just us. Everybody connected, everybody in the audience, you are all part of the village. We thank you for your time. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And again, like I say, we're definitely going to continue going forward. We got so many special guests that's gonna be coming up. Like I said, we starting off with Ariana Turner. We can't wait to let you see the stories and the power she have, the things she has to offer. And when you realize all that she have to offer, you'll see why I'm blessed to have her as my co-host. So it's
Thanks.
been really fun today. Been able to express our opinions and talk and see what's going on in the village and in the world. So we'll be back in what 2 weeks? Yes, and
Celebrate your 4th of July weekend, y'all.
yeah, we're gonna have
Enjoy.
fun. So everybody enjoy this. Like I said, this is the fourth of July where we celebrate freedom. But remember, your freedom does not have to be the natural freedom. You can be spiritually free, financially free, burden free. So there's many freedoms that we should be celebrating. So I say to you, and we say to you, go enjoy your freedom and take your freedom if you don't have your freedom. And if you need the village to help you get that freedom, we're more than welcome to assist you in any way we can. With that being said, we're gonna have a getting ready to sign off here. Everybody have a good day. Enjoy your extra day for the weekend, and we'll see you back here in 2 weeks. All right, bye bye.